Hello friends! How's it going? My name's Ramon. How are you today? Today we're doing another sunscreen review, and this one is one that I'm very excited about and hopefully not going to be as disappointed as I have been for my last couple sunscreen reviews. Check them if you haven't already. And that's going to be on the Australian Gold Botanical SPF 50 Tinted Face Sunscreen. This came recommended off of a YouTube channel on YouTube called Hot and Flashy, who's a really cool channel in regards to like mature sunscreen, mature skincare content. This is her tried and true favorite. I watch her channel for a couple years now, and this is one that's always been her top tier, most recommended sunscreen year after year after year, most if not all weather conditions. It's tinted, wears great over most skin types, does not affect makeup wear, and that had me really intrigued. So we're gonna be testing it today. Before we get into today's video, I'm gonna ask that you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and down below, have you tried this sunscreen before? Let me know what you think about it if you have. And mind you, this channel has been, is, and will forever be pro-Black Lives Matter, pro-Black women, pro-Black trans and queer folk. Therefore, down below, I'm still gonna keep the links in master threads for donation links, bail bonds, organizations that you can donate to, support, as well as other resources such as mental health and aid resources for those who are actively fighting on the streets, as well as affected more locally within their communities. So if you can donate, I strongly urge you to do so because Black Lives Matter all the time, every day, forever and always. So the Australian Gold Botanical. Again, Hot and Flashy recommended this on her channel. I've seen it for a couple years, and in the midst of all the other sunscreens I've been testing, successful or not, this was kind of like in the periphery of my vision for a while. And therefore I decided, you know what, it's about time. This is 3 fluid ounces and I paid $10 for this. For perspective, that is 89 ml for $10, a steal compared to the last two I've tried out. Beyond that is a mineral only sunscreen filter. So with that, let's read some of the online claims. The Australian Gold Botanical SPF 50 Tinted Face Mineral Lotion is more than just powerful sun protection, it's gentle care for your skin. This non-chemical sunscreen lotion delivers a refreshingly luxurious, powdery clean finish, while this little tint seamlessly blends into most skin tones and washes away with water. Specially designed for sensitive facial skin, this lotion won't clog pores and is fragrance-free. Rich in vitamins and antioxidants from native Australian botanical ingredients, it allows you to enjoy the sun, protected from both UVA and UVB rays, and water resistant for up to 80 minutes. So, broad spectrum SPF 50, which is actually really good for a mineral sunscreen filter, water resistant for 80 minutes. It also boasts that it features a lot of Australian related botanical ingredients such as kakadu plum, eucalyptus, and red algae. So those are like the antioxidant enriching the formulation of this. Fun fact, this is an American company based out of Indiana. The homeboy who owns it has like an Australian mother, but it's an American sunscreen. There's a lot of really interesting things I'm going to touch on for the wrap up at the end of the video, so keep tuned. That's going to touch on the formulation, the ingredients and whatnot, as well as what I thought about wearing it. But let's get into it. So we're here at the end of day 4, testing the Australian Gold Botanical SPF 50 Tinted Face Sunscreen. I have thoughts. So before I get into thoughts, let's just go over and recap what I did for all 3 days of wear testing. As you know, as I go through these tests, I change skincare and makeup combinations to kind of see how the sunscreen wears and affects each thing and how the sunscreen pairs with both factors. Day 1, I did my light skincare, full makeup beats. That was the Fancy Friday video. I just uploaded it on the Latinx tag if you want to go check out that video and see the makeup I did for that. But that was also my first day testing out the sunscreen. You can see in the initial application footage, I did half sunscreen, half no sunscreen, so you can kind of see the pigmentation of it. That's where the tinted aspect of this really became apparent. This is not tinted in the sense of the Burst Guards Up sunscreen I did, where it kind of just helped to meld the product a little bit more into the skin by diminishing any white cast. This low key is a very opaque tinted formula for the sunscreen. The texture of this, what really caught me off guard was it was very light and moussey, almost like moussey you'll play. In the application, you can kind of see it was in my beard, it was in my hairline. I did do a generous amount, obviously, but the texture of it is what I'm really surprised about, was it's very light. So that moussiness and that opacity kind of are very contrasting to each other, but makeup went on top of it really well. There was some slight alteration to the foundation color though. That was the first day, and mind you, it was a full beat. That was full foundation, full concealer, all that kind of stuff. My boyfriend was like, you look neutral. Day 2 was full skincare, light makeup. I did full shebang, and that was like 5 layers of 3 different hydrators, moisturizers, moisturizers, some serums. There was no pilling at all with that. They played very, very well. Makeup went really well on top of that as well. Here's the deal though. I only set my under eyes that day. And something I noticed, even regardless of it was light hydrators as day 1 or full skincare routine on day 2, I was very matte, almost to the point of being very, very dry. There was no oil production throughout the day. I didn't get greasy. My eyelids did not get creasy at all. I was very, very dry. This day was just concealer buffed out. My boyfriend also noticed, you look very neutral. Also, we were outside this day. We went out. We were out for a few hours in very, very direct sunlight. It was actually really sunny that day. And he was like, your beard is white, your beard's blue, it's very ashy. And I was like, okay, so there's that. Day 3, which was yesterday, I did light skincare, light makeup. I had to go to work that day, so I was kind of seeing how things wore with like a mask on and everything. And I didn't set my face at all. Under eyes or nothing, no creasing at all. Very, very dry, not oily. The makeup sat really well over the sunscreen. Skincare sat really well underneath the sunscreen. My boyfriend once again noticed, you look very, very neutral, more so than normal. And then today I did nothing but skincare and sunscreen. So this is 4 hours into today's wear test, and I did a reapplication on top of my original base without taking it off, just so you can see how the sunscreen applies. And that brings us to my final thoughts. You can kind of see the application footage and all that kind of stuff, and maybe make some opinions on that. But let me go through my 4 Bs and talk about my final thoughts on the sunscreen. So my 4 Bs, I test beard, beading, beats, and brown skin friendly, where we talk about how the sunscreen falls under each of those criteria for my like sunscreen grading rubric. Beard, as you can see, it collects in your beard. It's a very moussey texture. It's not lightweight, it's not moisturizing. And so that texture, it clings to facial hair. When I did my makeup for the full Beat Fenty day, it looked like I had pomade in my brows just because of how the sunscreen was acting with the hair, making it all clump together. And mind you, I like getting sunscreen in my eyebrows because it kind of functions a little bit like a brow gel. It was cakey. It was coverable here with bronzer and foundation, but my beard, I couldn't really do much. It was very gray. Beading, it played really well with skincare. And what I will say about this is the texture of this is very unique for a sunscreen. This is very much like a mousse. It's very lightweight. It's very fluffy. Without reapplying just one layer of this, it sits so beautifully on the skin. And even with the reapplication, the texture of it itself sits so beautifully on my skin. It's very, very lightweight. This reapplication right now is really, really sticky though, so don't recommend for that. But love the texture of this with skincare. Beat makeup. This, I'm gonna get into this later on in the video. This preps your skin beautifully for makeup if you got oily skin. If you got dry skin, don't recommend this at all. But I didn't set my face day 3 at all. I didn't set my face except for my under eyes day 2. Makeup looked flawless, lasted all day. And I'm talking like 10, 12 hour like long days, especially after work and that kind of stuff, or after napping and being out in the sun. My face looked beautiful. Eyelids didn't crease. My eyelids always crease. My under eyes didn't crease at all. Wears really well under makeup. The only thing is it alters the undertone of your makeup. I'm naturally more of an olivey, warm, olive golden undertone. My boyfriend would just call out every day, you look really, really neutral. I think that's a result of the sunscreen itself being super, super cool tone. And I mean, you can see upon like 2 layers of application and sitting in my skin now for like 10 to 15 minutes, this is my skin tone. This is my face with the sunscreen. The sunscreen itself, it's very like ashy pink. And so with that, it's, I think, alters a lot of the shades. So he has a really good eye for this at this point. He knows what I'm supposed to look like. He knows it looks off. And mind you, every wear test I do, I exclusively wear Fenty products. So I know what it looks like. Fenty for me is really reliable. I know how it works. That's the control for this test in terms of makeup. So if things go wrong, I know how Fenty's supposed to work, and I then can tell what the issue is with the sunscreen if it alters anything with that. A big issue, the only like negative concern besides kind of being a little bit too dry, was the fact that it kind of accentuated my pores. And whenever I do full beat, I also do primers, and I've been using the Fenty Pro Filter Soft Matte Primer, and it was a little bit hard to like work onto the sunscreen. The sunscreen's texture on the skin is very, there's no slip to it. I like low-key went to like scratch my neck earlier because I put on my neck today and there was no slip to my neck. So I couldn't really rub in product on top of it that easily, but regardless, it accentuated my pores, and I don't have like a pore issue. I really don't have pores. So that was the problem. And then level 4 is brown skin friendly. No. With that, here's the deal. If this was my exact undertone, this would be it. This would be a hit, but it's not. If you go to the Australian Gold website, they have versions of this that are more BB cream style and actually have like fair to light, medium to dark, dark to deep variations of this that are more BB cream aligned. This is not a BB cream. That potentially could work for you, but my issue and my concern is that these would then be just really off undertones, and because they are so opaque, you can see the opacity behind these. It could not work for a lot of people depending on the undertones. So technically, no, I'm gonna say this is not brown skin friendly. So is this worth it? Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that I would recommend this if you're oily skin and you will wear makeup. Only because this, low-key, is like a great primer for makeup. I would not wear this barefaced. If you are anything darker than me, if you are my shade, no. If you're darker than me, hell to the no by itself. But I'm gonna actually keep using this throughout the summer, only targeted as a primer though, on top of an already established layer of a sunscreen that I actually do like. Just because A, the fact that I didn't have to like set my under eyes, but B, it gave me a very nice soft matte finish throughout the day for multiple hours, regardless of the conditions. Like, that's never happened before. But I mean, it's $10 for 3 ounces. If I were to use this underneath makeup in really targeted areas, or if you're more oily skin all throughout your face, this would last you a long time. I would not recommend this just by itself. I didn't have any adverse reactions to this sunscreen, especially with the extracts that it advertises. It washed off really easily. My skin liked it a lot. The thing I'm confused about is the fact that this is in a shea butter vehicle and it's not moisturizing. But I think that lends itself to the texture in itself, so maybe that's why. And on top of that, something that a subscriber asked about that I noticed, and I reached out to Australian Gold to ask about this, is how does it have such a high SPF and UVA ratings? If you go on their website, they're very transparent about the results from the FDA that they did test. And technically, I think this has a SPF 50 on it, and it has really, really high UV PPD rating of I think about 19, which would qualify this to be a PA4+ sunscreen. It only has 4% of zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. I reached out to them, and I'll put the statement on screen. Our products go through a battery of testing to ensure that they are safe and effective. Every SPF product has unique properties of particle dispersion. For the mineral sunscreen filters are more dispersed or not dissolved, so it's like a suspension. So getting a synergy between the ingredients in the formula and the active ingredient is key to providing an effective and aesthetically pleasing formula. Both titanium dioxide and zinc oxide provide UVA and UV protection, true. So additional sunscreen actives were not needed in order to obtain broad spectrum SPF rating. There's no other actives in this. There is iron oxides, but iron oxides don't really add a lot of like UV protection. They're just straightly there for pigment. This rating was established through an independent commercial testing laboratory and safety, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so they have all these testings on their website. So it's readily accessible, it's very transparent. I just have a lot of questions about that in terms of its effectiveness, but they're transparent with the results and it has great UVB and UVA protection. So I'm like, do I have to be concerned? I don't know. But something that also came up with the Purito Comfy Water, very similar content in terms of concentration of the zinc oxide in the sunscreen. So that's actually a question that I have now that I will do research on and hopefully have a video on soon, because my understanding was for high UV protection, especially to have an SPF 50 for mineral sunscreen, but also to have really, really high protection for UVA, I was under the impression you had to have really, really high percentages of zinc oxide. And that's why you usually see anywhere upwards of 15, 20, 20-something% zinc oxide. So I now have a couple questions about sunscreen and sunscreen filters that I will get back to you guys once I find that out. But overall, is this worth it? For certain conditions, yes. Not if you're gonna wear it by itself, unless you are the exact undertone of the sunscreen or don't mind looking a fool in public, because trust, this makes you look a certain type of way. If you have oily skin and plan to use it under makeup, it works great for you. And it's a great price point for a lot of product. That's about it. It's not brown skin friendly. I wouldn't wear it by itself. It's very oily skin friendly and it works great under makeup. So do with that what you will. So overall, if you have dry skin, if you even have normal skin, I probably wouldn't recommend this. It can get really, really drying. And mind you, again, I was getting over my reaction, so I had a really compromised moisture barrier, which this didn't irritate at all, but it just exacerbated any dryness I had in my skin. On top of that, it really accentuated like fine lines and like creasing in my skin, which I don't really have a lot of fine lines and creasing, but it brought them out wherever they were. My boyfriend himself tried this out and he was like, this is drying and I need to wash this off my face. And that was within the first couple hours of application. And it got so bad that his eyes got so dry that he was crying as a result of it. So yeah, if you have dry skin, avoid. If you have any texture in your skin related to like fine lines and creasing, avoid. Yeah, this is a good sunscreen for very specific people for very specific reasons. Even looking at reviews for other products, their dark to deep skin version of the tinted BB cream sunscreen doesn't have reviews or anything at all, period. Their non-tinted one is white cast. And with the other tinted ones that are more BB cream style, I don't know what the undertones are to know if they'd be good for your skin, but they do specifically state that those can be used as a light foundation. So they do have opacity to them. This one isn't advertised as a BB cream, but it also has opacity to it without really having coverage. Also, it's not Australian, so that's a lie. I didn't love this, but I liked it for certain things. I actually will keep using this as a targeted spot sunscreen for areas that get more oily under makeup. But yeah, that was the Australian Gold Botanical SPF 50 tinted face sunscreen. I'm not gonna say it's hormone approved, but I'm gonna still use it. So yeah, if you like this kind of sunscreen, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post other sunscreen videos, which is pretty much all I do at this point on my channel. And in the comments down below, have you tried this sunscreen before? What do you think about it? If you have that answer about the zinc oxide concentration and how that affects UV, please leave that in the comments down below as well. Also, head to my socials, Glow by Ramon on both Instagram and Twitter, so we can catch up. You can see all the great comedic content I post on my Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.